So you nailed the interview. Now what? The truth is, sometimes how you act after an interview, how you reach out and engage with the hiring team post-interview can be the difference between getting a job offer and getting ghosted. In today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do to appropriately follow up with people after an interview. Let's go. So I've been in recruitment for 15 years, and what I can tell you is that most people, after they interview, they either do nothing or they send a generic, meaningless email that doesn't really help them. The reality is, with the appropriate follow-up strategy, you can demonstrate that you are interested, proactive, without being pushy. Now, the first thing I want you to do is same day of your interview, I want you to send a personalized thank you email. A lot of candidates don't do this, but here's the reality. I've talked with thousands of hiring managers, and I would say about half of them really care about this. I've heard so many hiring managers say to me over the years, Ben, if they really cared, they would have sent the thank you email. And it's kind of hard to argue back. Whenever I interview, I send thank you emails. It just shows you're interested, it shows you were paying attention, and it shows you cared. One of the things I like to do is I like to personalize it and reference something from the interview in the thank you email. If you're looking for a template, I'll put a template below in the description box. Generally speaking, keep it under 150 words, be specific, and demonstrate enthusiasm. Bonus points if you can call out something from the interview. The next thing I want you to do is if you haven't heard back from them in 3 days, that's an appropriate time to follow up. Now, following up, you can send an email. It's really important that you're polite, you're not pushy, and you're not desperate. And I know that seems like a lot, but following up the right way is a nice tap on the shoulder. It lets them know, oh yeah, okay, we've got this candidate, they're interested, they're following up. So I will actually put the other template below in the description box for you again. And I think if you follow up with this, you give yourself the opportunity to engage them again and create a dialogue where maybe your candidacy is being put in the back burner. And I know it seems annoying that you have to do this as a candidate, but the reality is most hiring teams are really busy. And if you're not proactive, sometimes it's really easy for you to get lost in the shuffle. Now, I recommend one more follow-up. I call this the final follow-up, and this is like 10 to 14 days out after your interview. At this point, it's almost like a Hail Mary, but I still like to do it. And I tell people you want to say something like, hey, name, this is Ben. I just wanted to send one final follow-up. I really enjoyed our interview, but I haven't heard from you. Just in case there's been a delay, I figured I'd reach out one more time. I'd love to chat with you. Something like that. And it's just letting them know you were still interested, but you're also not going to be following up again. So if they planned on reaching back out to you, but they just haven't, they've gotten too busy, not a good excuse. But let's just say that's the case. This will let them know like, I better get on this because it looks like this candidate is losing interest. The next thing that you need to do is just know when to cut bait. If they do not respond to that message after a few days, you just have to move on with your life. I've talked to candidates who said, hey, I had a really good interview. I followed up. They told me that they'd be following up with me. They had a few other candidates, but it's been 6 weeks. The reality is, if you get to that point and you are that far out, they are probably not going to reach out to you. However, they might reach out in the future, but it doesn't benefit you to keep sending messages beyond that first one. Thank you email, 3-day follow-up, 10 to 14-day final follow-up, and that's all I would do as a candidate. And then I would move on with my life. However, following up with my life sometimes for me means sending them one final email and saying, hey, I appreciate the opportunity. If anything changes in the future, please feel free to reach out. And that's like the one last thing you can do if you want to. Nobody likes being ghosted, but the reality is it happens to the best of us. The best candidates get ghosted like everybody else. And it's actually why I made this video here. It talks about why you get ghosted. So if you feel like this is happening to you a lot and you've spent time following up and for whatever reason you just keep getting ghosted, I'd recommend going and watching this video. I give you, from my 15 years experience, some of the behind the scenes reasons why it happens. I'll see you over there.